Hi, my name is John Stewart, and we are looking at Sustainable Development Goal number 16 and how peace, justice, and strong institutions form the backbone of every vision we hold for a sustainable future. SDG 16 asks us to look beyond policies and metrics and into the deeper architecture of human societies. Across the world, we're witnessing rising conflict, decline in public trust, shrinking civic space, and widening polarization. And these patterns aren't just political challenges, they're human challenges. The United Nations frames SDG 16 as a foundational enabler because every other SDG depends on the presence of peaceful, just, and inclusive systems. SDG 16 is built on 12 targets and 23 indicators that measure whether societies are becoming more peaceful, more just, and more accountable. These targets span violence reduction, equal access to justice, anti-corruption, participatory governance, human rights protection, and the universal right to legal identity. The UN measures progress through standardized indicators such as conflict-related death rates, the share of the population that feels politically represented, levels of corruption, and the strength of national human rights institutions, and access to information laws. According to the Sustainable Development Goals Report 2025, conflict-related deaths surged by 40% in 2024, with at least one life lost every 12 minutes. Civilian casualties, especially women and children, rose at unprecedented levels. In the last 2 years alone, child deaths increased by 337%, and women deaths by 258%. At the institutional level, the picture is mixed. Access to information laws have expanded from 14 countries in 1990 to 140 countries today. National human rights institutions with full Paris Principles compliance have increased to 89 countries, which covers over 55% of the global population. Trust in governance is deeply fragile. Across 83 countries, only 44% of the people felt that their voices matter in political decision-making, with women consistently reporting even lower political efficacy. Counterintuitively, in wealthier countries, they show even lower political efficacy. In areas of protection and safety, the trends are incredibly concerning. Detected human trafficking victims increased by 25% since pre-pandemic levels, with children now making up 38% of all victims. And 31% of the world's prison population, 3.7 million people, are held without sentence. SDG 16 is fundamentally interlinked and influenced by multiple SDGs through accountability, participation, and rights-based governance, with especially strong connections to SDG 4, 10, and 3. SDG 4, quality education. Strong institutions create the stability that learning requires. Inclusive education builds the civic capabilities and social cohesion that peaceful societies depend on. UNESCO emphasizes that education for global citizenship and human rights directly strengthens justice and democratic participation. Achieving SDG 4 builds the human capabilities, civic agency, and trust necessary for SDG 16 to function. SDG 10, reduced inequalities. The UN's SDG interlinkages framework identifies SDG 10 as a necessary precursor for inclusive governance. Inequality erodes trust, limits access to justice, and destabilizes governance. Research shows that horizontal inequalities significantly increase the risk of conflict and weaken institutional legitimacy. SDG 3, good health and well-being. Communities experiencing violence or weak governance face higher psychological trauma and poor health outcomes. The WHO notes that reducing violence is one of the strongest predictors of improved public health. Peaceful, accountable institutions create the social stability required for communities to thrive mentally, physically, and emotionally. In closing, without peace, without justice, without strong ethical institutions, we cannot advance education, reduce inequality, or protect well-being. And the pathway to every other goal becomes unstable. For me, this SDG speaks to a deeper purpose of development, creating systems that allow human potential to unfold and to expand. The data from the 2025 SDG report is a reminder that strong institutions, peace, and justice can't be assumed. They must be built, protected, renewed, restored, and revitalized. In terms of development policy and practice, SDG 16 challenges us to think differently, to reimagine the way we look at issues, to question the assumptions and inherited frameworks, and to expand our vision beyond traditional problem solving so we can engage the deeper questions of power, belonging, and human possibility. Policy must also shift from technocratic fixes towards relational solutions. Reducing violence means investing in social cohesion. Strengthening institutions means honoring local knowledge systems and giving communities real voice in co-designing decisions. Advancing justice means confronting inequality, discrimination, and the everyday barriers that prevent people from fully participating in public life. SDG 16 is at the core of what I'm of service to: a more just, inclusive, sustainable, and harmonious human experience in which our systems and institutions are rooted in ethical leadership, grounded in integrity, cultivate belonging, and honor human dignity. So I invite you to let these questions land, give them space, and feel into the possibilities. If technical fixes can't create peace or justice, what deeper questions do we need to start asking in development? And what becomes possible when institutions are designed around belonging, integrity, and human potential instead of control? Thank you. And remember, we are better together.